our broadcast booth here at James M. Stewart Stadium. My name is Jack Sargent. I'm joined alongside by my partner, Amelia Bashy, for this matchup between the Drexel Dragons and the Hofstra Pride. It is senior day for the Hofstra Pride, and Amelia, Pride come off of their first conference win and first win in over a month last week against the Elon Phoenix.
Yeah, it's definitely a day to remember, especially for the seniors, as it is the last home game of the season. And it's this game, another CAA matchup, very important for this Hofstra Pride to get this next CAA win, their second one in the season.
And as both of us have mentioned, it is senior day here, so we will take a moment to recognize the seniors on this squad. But before we get to the seniors, I do also want to mention Rachel Graff, who is a graduate student, but this is her first year at Hofstra, so she was also recognized in the pregame festivities for the seniors here. And we'll mention all of the other seniors here, starting off with defender number 1, Kayla Robertson, number 2, attacker Lauren Coletti, Caitlin Murphy, another defender, number 5, Katie Kelly, attacker, number 8, another senior, Kate Fiola, midfielder, Margot McCormick, Taylor Manella, and then also Kendall Smith, Kara Scanio, and Samantha Tarpey alongside Ashlyn McDonald, Courtney Carollo, and actually that is it for the seniors. So we wish our congratulations to all of them for all that they have done for Hofstra during their time here in this, which is the last home game of the season, this one, and then the following week Hofstra visits Stony Brook for the regular season finale in the Battle of Long Island. We'll get you starters in just a moment, but I'll toss it back to you, Amelia. Any observations that you have before we introduce the starting lineups for both of these teams?
Well, of course, for Drexel, you gotta watch out for Taylor Manella, as she scored 26 goals of this season with 22 assists. So she's just on fire recently. And before her sister got injured, and her sister Nikki Manella was also on fire. Probably the two standouts of this Hofstra Pride lacrosse team. And you also got to watch out for Katie Kelly too, also scoring 23 goals with 14 assists on this season. It's just a dynamic team with they're taking a hit this season with 13 seniors graduating this year. It's a young team after the season.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that will be something that Shannon Smith has to address. But right now, today is the moment to relish this last home game and also recognize your seniors. And everyone involved would be very delighted if Hofstra were able to take out a win here today. We'll get to the starters now for both sides. We'll start off with the visiting Drexel Dragons. Drexel sends out a 2-attacker set with number 4, Lindsay Dean, and number 32, Kate Morano. And they have a 3 midfielders set, with the first one being number 2, Connie Bednarek, number 7, Alex Wall, and number 12, Haley Simpson. And Drexel fields a 5 defender set with Mara Sissel, one of the defenders for Delaware, Drexel, number 15, Belle McHugh, number 16 at defense, Allie Van Slyke, number 18, Cameron Ryan, number 25 at defense, Peyton Bennett, number 26, also at defense, and Jenica Cuocho, the goalkeeper for Drexel. And for the Hofstra Pride, Coach Shannon Smith sends out a 3-attacker set with Katie Kelly, Carrie Walzer, and Taylor Manella, numbers 8, 11, and 21. A 4 midfield set, number 7, Emily Wygand, number 10, Jackie Gaddy, number 25, Megan Flannery, and number 37, Courtney Carollo. And a 3 defender set with number 17, Bryn Hepting, number 31, Kendall Smith, number 33, Trinity Reed, and the goalkeeper, number 29, Luciana Cardello. We will step aside ourselves for just a moment and turn it over to our our PA announcer, Sadiq, here for the national anthem. And we are back from the national anthem here at James M. Stewart Stadium, and we mentioned the starters for both sides. And in just the few moments that we have left until the opening draw for this game, Amelia, your final thoughts on what Hofstra will need to do to take out this second conference win that this potential second conference win.
Well, you got to notice that Drexel is starting a lot of defenders in the beginning of this period, so you can tell that the defense is really strong. They can be tight. They good defense work and all of that. So Hofstra's offense has to really be able to break through that. I believe there's 5 defensive women on Drexel's end. So Hofstra's offense got to really break through that and make some opportunities from themselves to score high and well in this game and get that second CAA win of the season.
And this has been a team that has struggled at times to finish things on the offensive end. They certainly have had no shortage of offensive opportunities, but there have been certainly 2 weeks ago, the last time the Pride were at home against Delaware, they did not capitalize on some offensive opportunities. But one thing that has been the common theme for this team, even though this is a team that just got their first conference win, this is a team that they feel in themselves, and also, you look deeper than just the record. This is a team that is a lot better than a 4-10 record would indicate. So while Drexel is one of the better teams in the conference at 3-2 in conference, and Hofstra is only 1-4, this is a team that I would imagine, and from having talked to the players that I've talked to in the past, this is a team that still feels good about themselves, and also they do have this extra motivation of it being their senior day.
Yeah, the team is really well structured and know what they're doing, and the record doesn't really show all the work that they've really put into the season. In the beginning of the season, they were on fire with multiple wins, not in conference play, but just in regular outside play, contributing to their record. But as you mentioned before, they've scored really well, and they've made it close games. Even if they didn't win it, most of the scores were pretty close to each other.
Yes, and so as we get set for the opening draw control, it will be Mara Sissel who will be the draw control taker on the Drexel side, and Courtney Carollo, the primary draw control taker this season for Coach Shannon Smith, will take it for the Pride. Drexel is playing in dark navy blue uniforms with gold numbers and a white outline, and Hofstra is playing in their home whites with blue numbers. Hofstra in this first period will be going left to right, Drexel right to left. We're just about ready to get set for this opening draw control in this one. It is a mostly cloudy day here, but clear, at least on the weather side. Official's arm is up. The first draw control is up, and it will be won by Courtney Carollo, and we are underway here. She immediately hands it off to Kate Fiola. Kate Fiola backing up just behind the half-field line, going back, and now getting it started on the offensive end for the Pride is Carrie Walzer, just a few steps in front of that 8-meter arc. She dumps it off to, on this near side, Megan Flannery, who's making a run in towards the free position arc mark. Now leaves it off up at the top to Rachel Graff. Rachel underhands it to Katie Kelly, who had trouble with it initially but was able to pick it back up behind the goal. She feeds it to Megan Flannery, and Megan Flannery will hand it back up to Carrie Walzer up at the top. Walzer trying to get inside of that 8-meter arc. Now passes it off to Graff. Graff a shot. It's deflected by Kuko, but picked back up by Megan Flannery. The Pride will get a fresh 60, and they will do it again. Flannery trying to get around a defender, takes a shot, and it's saved there again by Kuoko. And a fast start to this one on offense for Hofstra.
Very much so. Very fast start creating opportunities for themselves, just like we mentioned before in the pregame show. They got to keep doing that, and the defense really got to tighten up here.
Alex Wall brings it up on this end, and now backing out, and it will be a whistle, and it will be a free position shot, the first one of the game for either side, and Lindsay Dean will take it from the second closest to the Hofstra side hash mark here. 13:44 left to go. Drexel looks to strike first in this one. Dean gets the whistle, takes a shot, and she scores to open the scoring for Drexel, and the free position opportunity conceded bites Hofstra again.
There's a tough shot there, right at the bottom corner, just barely just below the below Cardello's stick, right at the bottom corner. Those are always tough to get.
And going, as Amelia said, going to that low side shot there and converting is Lindsay Dean of Drexel. And as we said, Drexel strikes first in this one. 13:45 left. The Pride will try to rebound off of the one goal that Drexel has scored. The Pride have been resilient at times and have also shown abilities to be able to answer goals quickly. So, but the foul, and for the record, that foul was assessed to Kate Fiola, but the free position opportunities conceded have certainly been something that Hofstra has had problems with in the past. Now we get set for this second draw control of this contest. Official's arm is up, whistle blows, draw control is up, and knocked around and picked up on the ground by Bednarik of Drexel, and Drexel wins their first draw control of this one. Now getting started on offense, Bednarik leaves it towards on the far side for Lindsay Dean, the most recent goal scorer. Now playing a little bit around the horn right now, Alex Wall with it. She will slightly sidearm pass it over to Fowler, and Drexel's getting things started, going a little bit around the horn. Now with it for Drexel is Simpson, trying to move in, but Cardello's there to save it for Hofstra, the first save of the day for Cardello. So now Bryn Hepting has it on the far side. She'll alternate it back to Cardello. Cardello in the center. She will fling it forward towards Kate Fiola. Kate Fiola trying to clear it. She finds Trinity Reed on the near side, and Trinity Reed does clear it for Hofstra. She gets it inside the offensive end to Carrie Walzer, and Carrie Walzer will start things on the offensive end for Hofstra. Cradling it right now. Looking around now, slightly jogging in towards the 8-meter arc, trying to get around a defender. Instead, she leaves it for Rachel Graff on the far side. Graff underhands it to Megan Flannery. Megan Flannery will alternate it to Taylor Manella. Manella working in, trying to take a shot, goes high with it, and it goes out of bounds, but Hofstra will retain possession. Taylor Manella tried to find that top right corner of the goal. Now with it is Kate Fiola. She underhands it to Katie Kelly. Kelly backing up just near the 8-meter arc. She'll pass it to Taylor Manella. Manella trying to get around a defender, now has two in front of her, and she has to dump it to Carrie Walzer, who backs up outside of the 8-meter arc. And with 19 seconds left, Walzer trying to get around the defender, takes the shot, but it's saved by Cuoco. Another save for the Delaware keeper, and she tries to get it started quickly, flings it forward, and there to get it is Cecil for Drexel. Now Drexel moving it this way with Dean. Dean in the Hofstra end, now underhands it to Morano. Morano has it. She will instead fling it back forward to Fowler, and Drexel going around the horn on this end. Now with it on the far side is Dean. Dean leaves it behind the goal to Bednarik. Still going around the horn is Delaware, Drexel now back up to the top, and Wall with it. Wall trying to get around Emily Wygand. It's shot and knocked, deflected by Jackie Gaddy, who looks like she took it off of the face protector there, and a whistle. And we will get a slight pause in play as Jackie Gaddy will be allowed a minute to collect herself, but she did block a pass opportunity there for Drexel, and she will get the opportunity to pick it up as soon as the whistle is blown. So we are just about set for the restart, just north of 11 minutes left to go in this one. Whistle blows, and she flings it forward to Carrie Walzer, and Walzer will try to clear it for Hofstra. Walzer does clear it, flings it forward to Kate Fiola. Fiola trying to get around one Drexel defender, now finds Lauren Coletti on this near side, and Coletti leaves it for Katie Kelly, about even with the net. Now Hofstra going back up towards the top. Megan Flannery has it now, has a couple defenders in front of her, and has to back up and find Kate Fiola. Going around the horn with it again is Hofstra, and it finds its way back to Katie Kelly. Kelly goes across field past to Taylor Manella, but that defensive opportunity is shut off. Walzer with it in front of the goal now, and she scores to tie it for Hofstra. So a very good offensive passing look for Hofstra on that offensive opportunity, and with Drexel distracted by Katie Kelly and Taylor Manella going back and forth with each other on either ends of the arc. Carrie Walzer is able to sneak in to the center, and Hofstra is able to set her up with a pass and tie this one up.
Awesome opportunity there created by Hofstra, and good job by Kelly Walzer. Just right, again, not too far low, but just right in the corner that usually hard to get to sometimes.
And that is goal number 24 of the season for Carrie Walzer. And I will mention that was a player-up opportunity for Hofstra that I did not catch myself, so corrections on that, but that was a player-up opportunity for Hofstra. We will get set for the third draw control of this one. 10:33 left to go in this game. Hofstra and Drexel each have one draw control win. Whistle blows, the draw control is up, and it'll be won by Drexel. And Drexel moving it this direction in the Hofstra end. A whistle blows. Drexel looked like they almost turned it over, but with the whistle there, they get an opportunity to bring it forward this end on their own leisure. Now with it is Fowler on the Hofstra near side. She finds Kate Morano, and Kate Morano will leave it behind the goal, and going back around the horn and finding its way back to Fowler is the ball, who has it now, trying to get around Carrie Walzer. Instead, passes it off to an offensive player, and it deflects off the stick of Cardello, and Cardello puts the stick down on top of the ball to save it, and now a whistle is being blown, and it looks like it'll be a free position shot from the far side hash mark. It looked like it was a good save for Cardello, but the official did not agree, and it will be a free position opportunity for Drexel, their second one of this game. And I believe taking it for Drexel will be Morano, but I will get confirmation on that in just a moment. So we're still trying to get things settled and figured out here. And the official signaling, and it will be Morano who will take it from that far side hash mark on the free position area. Drexel trying to answer the Hofstra equalizer. Whistle blows, driving in towards the goal, taking the shot, and it going wide of the net there initially was Morano, but now with it in front of the goal and scoring is Wall to put Drexel back in front. A quick pick up by Drexel after the free position miss, and Wall puts it in to put Drexel back in front.
A quick response there by Drexel with the foul play there. Again, very tough spot in the goal too. Pretty much on the lower left corner of the goal. An incredible opportunity for Drexel as well.
And it was Lindsay Dean who picked it up off of the free position miss, and she was able to find her teammate Wall, and Wall put it in to put Drexel back in front. A quick answer after Walzer tied it for Hofstra with 10:33. Less than a minute to go, less than a minute between those two goals. And what looked like for Hofstra might have been a save there on this end instead turns into a Drexel scoring opportunity and subsequently a Drexel goal. Drexel has two draw control wins. Hofstra has the one as we get set for the fourth one of this contest. The officials still working things out. In the meantime, the sun is starting to peek out. Now, I did mention at the start of this broadcast that it was mostly cloudy. As the official's arm is up and the whistle goes, and it's again won by Drexel. This time winning it is Bednarik, and she'll bring it this direction for Drexel. She leaves it for Lindsay Dean, who has a goal in this one. Dean passes it to Molly Wygand, and now finding its way to Fowler is the ball on this end. Morano has it. She initially looked like she was going to pass behind the goal to Bednarik, but instead going back up toward the top, and with it is Molly Wygand trying to get around Emily Wygand. She does for the moment, and she takes the shot, goes to the low side, and scores, and Drexel doubles their lead. It's 3-1.
Back-to-back goals there for Drexel, breaking down this Hofstra Pride defense. Defense got to really tighten up here as they keep letting Drexel offensive players through.
And Molly Wygand was able to beat Emily Wygand, and I believe it was Bryn Hepting, who was trying to come in and help as Wygand was beat by Wygand. And unfortunately for Hofstra, Molly Wygand was able to look for that low corner side goal and put it in and double Drexel's lead. So now the draw control has been pivotal, as it often is when Hofstra plays lacrosse, and when they don't win draw controls, it has led to problems for Hofstra in this one. And yes, it is a very cliche thing to say, but they have been, I don't know exactly what their statistics are, but when they concede draw controls to other teams, it leads to often scoring opportunities and goals for them. So that's obviously something that Hofstra needs to pick up on more through this one. A whistle blows, and it will be another draw control win for Delaware. Cecil will pick it up and overhanded, I should say, to Haley Simpson. Simpson now bringing it this end. Hofstra trying to collapse in front of the goal, leaving it up at the top for Dean, and Dean will underhand it to Molly Wygand, and they will work their way back around to the near side to Kate Morano. Morano leaves it behind the goal to Bednarik. Bednarik with Bryn Hepting in front of her, trying to work around her, finding Dean, cutting in front of the goal, and Dean scores. And in less than 2 minutes, Drexel has tripled their lead. It's now 4-1.
Again, winning, as you mentioned before, Jack, winning the draw or turning over the draw controls to the opposing team, it really puts Hofstra at a disadvantage and doesn't give the defense much time to reset and really defend their end. It can be not detrimental since it is only the first period of the game. It can be difficult for this Hofstra Pride, and it could be, again, a disadvantage for them.
And we did not mention before we came into this, but Drexel has been a very, very strong team this season. 10-4 with a 3-2 in conference record this season, and their only losses in conference were to Towson and Stony Brook, who is one of the top teams in the nation. And most of they won every single one of their. They won all but 2 of their out-of-conference games this year. So this is a very tough team for Hofstra to play, but we have seen on a couple of occasions now cuts in front of the goal go for scores, and another draw control win off of a violation for Hofstra, and Drexel gets their 5th one. And also we'll mention that was the 2nd goal of the game for Lindsay Dean, and a Drexel turnover as Simpson tried to pass it, and Hofstra will get their first offensive look in not a long time on the game. And right in front of the goal is Rachel Graff, and a fantastic save there by Kuoko of Drexel, as Rachel Graff was all alone in front of the goal. A critical save there and a critical miss for Hofstra. Under 8 minutes left to go in this first quarter. Megan Flannery leaves it up to the top to Rachel Graff again. Rachel Graff sidearms it to Carrie Walzer. Walzer backing up top of the 8-meter arc, gets around the defender, takes the shot. It's deflected away. Flannery picks up the ground ball and will take it back up behind the 8-meter arc, and she'll find Kate Fiola there. Fiola jogging around will go back to Flannery. Flannery cradling it right now, trying to run around, leaves it for Taylor Manella up at the top. Manella trying to get her first look, trying to spin around the defender, has 2 in front of her now, and she has to alternate it to Carrie Walzer, who will back up outside of the 8-meter arc. That's the 3rd time this offensive possession Hofstra has had to do that. Walzer leaves it for Fiola. Fiola trying to get around the Drexel defender. It's deflected off of the stick of Kuoko and picked up by Drexel, but quickly turned over by Hofstra, and they will get a quickly turned over, and the turnover picked up by Hofstra, I should say. So Hofstra gets a fresh 90. Flannery with it again, cradling it. She backs up, now begins to run forward inside the 8-meter arc, leaves it for Taylor Manella again. Manella trying to find an opportunity, had a cutting Carrie Walzer, tried to find it like that first goal there, but Walzer couldn't get it cleanly. And at the end, it will be a foul called on Hofstra, and Drexel will pick it. Hofstra does not get a goal on the offensive look here, under 6.5 minutes to play in this first quarter. So Wall with it on this end, now leaves it to Lindsay Dean, and she will pass it back up at the top to Haley Simpson. Simpson will find Dean on the far side, and Dean drops it off to Bednarik behind the goal. Bednarik trying to wrap around, instead passes it up to Fowler. Fowler trying to get around Flannery, and she'll leave it to another opportunity for Lindsay Dean. Cardello saves it momentarily, but finding it in front of the goal and scoring is Morano, and it's a 5-1 lead for Drexel.
Impressive work of possession there by Hofstra as they were fighting for it with Drexel, and Drexel's in. Unfortunately, the turnover for Hofstra, earning Drexel their 5th goal of the game, and also amazing save there by Cardello before the 5th goal went in.
Yeah, the shot before that, it was deflected off of the stick of Cardello, but it went behind the goal and was picked back up by Lindsay Dean, who has her 4th point of the game, 2 goals and 2 assists now. And we have right now only Lindsay Dean on the hat-trick watch. That is Morano's 3rd goal of the season and the 5th assist for Lindsay Dean. So she has almost doubled her assist totals Lindsay Dean has coming into this one. Lindsay Dean for Delaware has been pretty much all over the place to start this one off. Now we're getting set for the next draw control of this one. It goes up and it is picked up by Bednarik of Drexel, and Morano, most recent goal scorer, has it by the CAA logo. She will leave it for Alex Wall, who's coming into the offensive end. She passes it off to Haley Simpson. Simpson cradling it, passes it on the far side to Dean. Now with it behind the goals, Bednarik trying to spin around. Hepting does. Wraparound shot and score there for Corinne Bednarik, as she was able to beat Bryn Hepting on the wraparound opportunity, and a fast second goal of this offensive set, or a fast second goal in less than a minute for Drexel, and they lead this one 6-1, and 6 draw control wins have led to 6 goals for Delaware. Hofstra has yet to answer after the Walser equalizer a long time ago, and we will get a timeout now from head coach Shannon Smith. We will keep it here, but Shannon Smith, smart timeout call at this point, because Hofstra has not been able to stop Drexel in the last 10 minutes or so, Amelia.
They have not, and I also wanted to highlight Corinne Bednarik scored her 35th goal of the season, and it was a lone goal. Still continues to be the leading goal scorer for Drexel. And as you mentioned, Shannon Smith having perfect timing with this timeout call. Hofstra's defense keeps getting broke through, and so you don't want that to happen, and so you got to really tighten up that defense, whether it's fix the play or how you're running the play. And also, as much as not the defense, but the offense is creating opportunities for themselves, there's just something that's just not really connecting to the goal. They're always the offensive players are always there. They're down there, but there's just something that's just missing, and this is a great time to call a timeout.
There's 2 problems that Hofstra has right now. Number one, Drexel is being very physical and challenging them on defense, and we've seen several instances in where Hofstra defenders have been beaten, which have led to goal scores. Drexel has won 6 draw controls, as I mentioned, so they have had the majority of the offensive possessions, and Hofstra has had a couple of good offensive looks. And Rachel Graff, a long time ago now, I don't remember exactly when it was, but Rachel Graff was alone in front of the goal and could not get it past Cuoco of Drexel. And then there was the other opportunity where Taylor Manella tried to find Carrie Walser, who was cutting in front of the goal, and that was not successful. So those are the 2 opportunities that Hofstra has had on offense that did not go. And again, with the way that Drexel has been playing on offense, they have been very easily getting around Hofstra defenders. And right now it's a mismatch on the offensive end for Drexel against Hofstra. And Shannon Smith, certainly a good time after conceding 5 goals unanswered and having lost the draws that they have. And it will be a switch in the draw control taker right now for the moment. Megan Flannery will replace Courtney Carollo for the moment in the draw control circle. Not something that is unusual, as Shannon Smith is known to alternate draw control takers throughout the game, but certainly I don't know that I've seen it this early, and I wonder if she wants to try to close this edge that Drexel has in the draw control areas. But it has been on the defensive end an offensive mismatch as the draw control is up and picked up by Cecil of Drexel, and the 7th draw control win for Drexel, leaving it up for Fowler at the top. Does she? And now cradling it is Wall, trying to direct traffic momentarily and finding eventually on this near side Godshaw, the first time that we have said the name of number 17, Sandra Godshaw. Now alternating it back around and eventually working its way back to Godshaw. Does the ball, trying to get around a couple of Hofstra defenders, instead leaves it for a cutting Fowler. Now with it behind the goal is Lindsay Dean. She goes back to Bednarik. Bednarik trying to get around Bryn Hepting. Initially tried to spin to the right, went back to the left, passes it off to Fowler. Fowler trying to get around Walzer, and she does. Goes to the right side and scores number 7 of the game for Drexel, and Walzer slightly slipped in front of the goal, and that was another factor in Drexel getting number 7 on this game.
It also looks like, too, that the ball kind of bounced off of Cardello's foot there to bounce into the goal, or it bounced off the stick. It's hard to tell as it was on the right side of the goal.
So Drexel has been in command in this one. Courtney Carollo works her way back in. She will be the draw. She will take the draw control again, as once again I mentioned it is a draw control mismatch. And I should correct myself. I don't know if I made it clear enough, but the goal officially goes to Maddie Fowler, her 6th of the season, and the 7th of the game for Drexel. And again, 7 goals and 7 draw control wins for Drexel. So this is where we talk about the importance of the draw control and what it can potentially lead to. So we're getting set now for the 9th of this one. 4 minutes and 41 seconds to go. This has been a long first quarter, and certainly for the Hofstra Pride. And whistle goes up, and it will be still on the ground, actually, and picking it up is Bednarik, and then getting knocked down by Katie Kelly. So it will stay with Drexel and go for their 8th win of this match so far. Fowler with it now in the offensive end. She'll underhand it to Alex Wall, and Wall will find Godshaw at the CAA logo. She'll go to Morano, who will pass it to Bednarik behind the goal, and working around the horn right now is the ball. It finds its way back to Wall and Godshaw to Morano, and finding Bednarik behind the goal. Bednarik trying to get around Bryn Hepting. She loses her footing but is able to pick up the ground ball. Now trying to get around Hepting again, has to leave it up at the top to Fowler, and Fowler will wing it to Haley Simpson. Simpson trying to get around Jackie Gaddy, finds Godshaw on the near side. A cutting Fowler took a shot that went over the goal, but it was picked back up. Now with it is Wall, and she ground passes it to Fowler. Fowler with Jackie Gaddy. Gaddy fouls Fowler, and Drexel retains possession here. 26 to go on the shot clock. 23 now. Shot clock is still running. Alex Wall directing traffic right now. She finds Haley Simpson. Simpson will leave it back for Wall. Wall alternates it to Godshaw. Godshaw to Simpson. Takes the shot there, but a whistle, and it will be a free position opportunity for Godshaw from the far side hash mark. The second free position opportunity in this one. Godshaw takes the shot. It's deflected off of Cardello's stick. Still on the ground and picked up by Dean. Drexel keeps it going. Dean working her way back in, and she scores for the hat trick. So off of the deflected save by Cardello, Dean's able to pick it back up, and she brings it in herself for her 3rd goal of this one. And as I said, that is good for the hat trick for Lindsay Dean. It's now an 8-1 lead for Drexel.
Even with the 3 Hofstra defensive players on her, Lindsay Dean was still able to get through, and I'm going to see how many goals she has of the season now after earning this hat trick. And she had a couple of assists already so far this game, but another great offensive work by Drexel, just really breaking through. And as we see here, it's Lindsay Dean's 13th goal of the season, a lone goal the Hofstra defense got to tighten up, really tighten up.
And unfortunately, the bounce just went Drexel's way there. It was a great save off of the free position opportunity by Cardello, and Lindsay Dean just beat the Hofstra defenders to pick up the ground ball. And I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it was the 8th draw control win. It was the 8th goal for Drexel. Draw control is up and finally picked up by Katie Kelly for the 2nd win of this one, and Hofstra will get back on offense for the first time in quite a while. Trinity Reed wings it upfield to Bryn Hepting, and Hepting will leave it for Kate Fiola, and Fiola will work things forward on the offensive end for Hofstra. She wings it on the near side to Megan Flannery, and we get a whistle here, and we will see what the official will do. I'm guessing that there might be some kind of penalty that will be assessed right now, but I still don't know at the moment. But for the moment, it was the 2nd draw control win for Hofstra, and Amelia, with Drexel's 7 unanswered, Hofstra really needs to get something going in the offensive end on this possession.
Hofstra does, and although in the past a few minutes of this game, Hofstra really does create great opportunities for themselves. There's just something is not connecting into the goal. Seen this happen before in other games too, and you can't really wait till the last minute to really catch up on the unanswered points.
So the official jogging away from the scores table. I still don't really know what happened there, but it will be a restart. Hofstra still has possession. Flannery leaves it for Fiola, and Fiola underhands it to Walzer. Walzer working inside of the 8-meter arc, now leaves it for Taylor Manella. Manella trying to make a cut around. She loses the ball. It's on the ground, still on the ground, but will be picked up by Wall, and a costly turnover for Hofstra as they lose the offensive possession. Wall has the breaks for the moment. She'll leave it for Bednarik, who has numbers on this end. Bednarik working around Kendall Smith. Robertson able to shut it off. Dean finding it Wall, and Wall scores her 2nd of the game and the 9th of this quarter for Drexel.
A costly turnover on the Drexel, and just as you mentioned before, Jack, Drexel's defense really plays physically, and Hofstra hasn't been able to really match that. They've been able to get away from the defensive players, but they just haven't really matched the physical defense that Drexel's creating.
And that goal goes for number 16 for Alex Wall, her 2nd, and it's the 3rd assist of this game for Lindsay Dean. Lindsay Dean has been having herself quite an afternoon here, and on the Hofstra end, Drexel has just been out physicaling them. Taylor Manella goes down on the Drexel offensive or in the Drexel defensive end. She loses the ball. Alex Wall is able to beat the Hofstra attacker to pick up the ground ball. She gets the breaks to set up the opportunity in the Hofstra defensive end, and eventually the ball works its way back to her, and it's the 9th goal of the game for Drexel, and the only one that has not immediately followed a Drexel draw control win, but it follows a Hofstra turnover, and the draw is up and picked up by Bednarik, and the 9th win of this one for Drexel. Bednarik working in, now leaves it to Dean on the far side. Dean flings it over to Molly Wygand. Now working it around, it goes back to Wall. Wall slowing things down just a bit. Now underhands it to Godshall. Godshall goes to Morano, and Morano will leave it behind the goal to Bednarik. Bednarik flings it to Dean. Dean works it back to Molly Wygand. Molly Wygand working around Kate Fiola, leaves it for Godshall. Godshall leaves it back for Fowler. Now Dean has it. Dean will fling it behind the goal to Bednarik. Bednarik trying to work around Bryn Hepting, trying for the wraparound opportunity again. Couldn't get around Hepting, but it will be a whistle and a free position opportunity from the 2nd closest to us hash mark here. The 3rd of this one for Drexel. They scored on their first one, didn't score directly off of the 2nd one, but a deflected save went back to Drexel. Bednarik scores, and so the 3rd draw control the 3rd free position shot that has led to a Drexel goal, the 2nd one directly off of it, and Drexel has been cruising in this first quarter.
They've been flying through this first quarter here. It's again, the Hofstra's defense keeps getting keeps getting break down. Drexel's able to break down this defense and really connect their goals. It's just goal after goal after goal. And Hofstra with almost 10 unanswered goals here. You got to wonder what's like in their game plan.
And one of those has just been the lack of abilities to have looks on the offensive end, which is, Drexel has been controlling the tempo of this game. That goes for the 36th goal of the season for Corinne Bednark, by the way, for the record. And it's also her second of this one. So she is one of two Drexel players right now. With two, we already have Lindsay Dean, who is in the hat trick. Alex Wall, the other one, who has two. And for Hofstra, just has the lone goal, which was the Carrie Walser goal. The draw control goes up, and eventually there to pick it up as Carollo got knocked down, but Kelly was able to pick her up. And with it now is Flannery trying to spin around a Drexel defender. She'll fling it to Taylor Manella, and Manella backing up inside the offensive end. I'm not sure where she's looking to go with it now. Leaves it for Flannery, and Flannery wings it to Walser on the near side. Walser trying to get around a Drexel defender, does. Looking around, a whistle, and it will be a free position opportunity. The first one for Hofstra on this near side hash mark. And could this be the break that Hofstra needs to get something and break the momentum that Drexel has been on?
This is a huge advantage for Hofstra, as it's their first penalty shot of this game. A huge advantage for them, and a potential scoring opportunity too.
So Walser trying to get around, goes for the ground shot, misses it, but it's picked up by Katie Kelly. And the shot clock turned off. Kelly trying to work the wraparound. Three Drexel defenders in front of her. Has to leave it up to the top. It will be a whistle and another free position opportunity from the second closest to the second outboard hash mark. And actually, it will be the second outmost hash mark on the far side, not the near side. But it will be another free position opportunity for Katie Kelly. Walser backed up and took a couple steps. I wonder if Kelly might just wing it in from the hash mark. That's what she does, and it's saved by Cuoco and picked up now by a Drexel defender. 30 seconds left to go in this first quarter. Cuoco with it now. She wings it forward to McLean, and McLean will pass it off to Sissel, and she will bring it up this end. Now with it is Wall, 2 goals scored in this first quarter. 13 seconds. Drexel's got to hurry to a certain extent. Molly Wygand with it now. She will leave it for Gottschall. Trying to work around Kate Fiola. Has Trinity Reed in front of her now. 2 Hofstra defenders, and she'll have to go back up to the top. 2 seconds and 1. That's it for this first quarter. Drexel scores 10 in this first quarter. They leave it by 9. It's 10-1 Drexel. You're listening to Hofstra Pride Women's Lacrosse on Flow Sports and WRHU. Looks, and when they did, they were stopped by Jenica Cuoco, and Drexel has just been dominant on the offensive end, and that is a big factor as to why they have 10 goals in this one, Amelia.
Exactly, and also they run really fast. They speed down the field. That's another thing that Hofstra has to look out for, is the way they're running down the field. They're running fast. They're quick to make decisions, Drexel. It's definitely an adjustment for Hofstra as to now going into the second quarter of today's game.
And for Hofstra, if they're going to answer Drexel in this one, they're going to need to produce off of draw controls. And they had a couple of free position opportunities. They weren't able to capitalize off of those. Hofstra has been resilient in the past, but with the way that they played in the first quarter and the physicality that Drexel played on defense, assuming Hofstra is able to match that on their defense, it's difficult to see how Hofstra is going to be able to work their way back into this one. But draw control wins certainly will be a factor for them. And picking it up is Katie Kelly. So a big 4th draw control win for Hofstra. She backs up by the CAA logo on the Hofstra bench side. She'll leave it up at the top to Taylor Manella. Manella will wing it to Megan Flannery, and Flannery will wing it to Walser on the far side. Walser allowing numbers to get forward on this end for Hofstra. Manella has it. She wings it to Graf. Graf leaves it to Kelly behind the goal. Kelly will go to eventually working its way back to Carrie Walser. Walser trying to work inside the 8-meter arc now. Spin around a Drexel defender. Can't do it right now. Has to leave it for Katie Kelly behind the goal. Looking for a scoring opportunity. Now she'll wing it to the top to Megan Flannery. Manella with it, backing up a couple of steps behind the 8-meter arc, now trying to work her way in around a Drexel defender. Can't for the moment. She tried to find in front of the goal Chloe Sedler, but a whistle blows, and Taylor Manella will get her first look at the free position opportunity, the third of the game for Hofstra. So Taylor Manella, we will see what route she will take on the free position opportunity. She drives in towards the goal, takes the shot, knocked down in front of the goal, and it will be another free position opportunity as Taylor Manella tried to take it all the way. The whistle blows, and it will be another. Taylor Manella will get another opportunity to try to bring Hofstra one step closer in this one, and she'll take it from the second hash mark out from the far side. 14 minutes left to go for this second quarter. The foul went on Maddie Fowler for the record. We're set now for the second draw control. Manella working her way in, takes the shot, scores a badly needed goal for Hofstra, cuts the lead to 8. It's 10-2, and it ends a 9-0 Drexel scoring run.
And amazing positioning there by Manella. That hash mark and the free position, it really put Hofstra in an advantage there to score the second goal of the game.
Manella gets her team leading 27th off of the free position opportunity. Second time ended up being the charm for Hofstra. And as Taylor Manella works her way back to the bench, pumping her fist as we're set for the second draw control of this quarter. Again, Drexel leads that category 9-4. But Hofstra was able to win that one, and it produced a goal for them. 13:57 left to go in the second quarter. It will be the usual suspects who will be taking the draw control for these two teams. So we are almost set for this one. Official's arm is up. The whistle blows. Ball goes up. Katie Kelly trying to pick it up off the ground, and still on the ground with it. Kelly can't get it. Carollo picks it up, though, and it's the fifth draw control win for Hofstra, and Carollo immediately leaves it for Flannery as she will exit for Lauren Coletti and Chloe Sedlar. Walzer has it now on the far side. She'll find Megan Flannery in the center of the field. Taylor Manella eventually working her way in on the near side, and that's who Megan Flannery leaves it for. Manella goes to Graff, and Graff will put it back in the hands of Taylor Manella, and working back around the horn and eventually to the far side to Carrie Walzer is the ball. 13:15 left to go. Walzer trying to work her way in, getting around a defender, has it knocked away from her, and it's a turnover, and Sissel will pick it up for Drexel and bring it back this end. It's a good clear as she crosses the half-field line. Cutting on the far side with it for Drexel is Simpson. Simpson leaves it, and now Wall has it. Walzer trying to shut that off. A floater pass to on the far side Simpson, and eventually working its way behind the goal to Bednarik, and Bednarik will alternate it to Grace Harding. Working its way back to the top is the ball to Alex Wall. 2 goals in this game for Wall. Wall and Simpson passing it between each other, and it works its way to Fowler. Fowler goes to Harding with it. Harding trying to get around Kendall Smith. Instead, she'll leave it back up towards the top to Simpson. Simpson leaves it for Fowler, and Fowler will alternate it back, and it will work its way behind the goal to Bednarik. Bednarik trying to get around Trinity Reed. Wrap-around opportunity. She goes the right-handed side, and it's saved by Cardello, so a big save there for Cardello deprives Drexel of goal number 11 in this one.
Amazing save there by Cardello. Really got her stick down on it when she lost control of it there to prevent the 11th goal.
So Cardello stepping forward, looking for player to wing it to. She tries to pass it to Jackie Gaddy, but Jackie Gaddy did not look it into her stick. Whistle blows, and it's going to be a Hofstra turnover at the end of it, as it was a foul on Jackie Gaddy. Drexel will get another look on the offensive end, and a costly turnover again for Hofstra. So now with it is Grace Harding, one of the attackers in this one for Delaware. With it by the Hofstra for Drexel. With it by the Hofstra logo is Maddie Fowler. Grace Harding with it now. Harding trying to work around Kendall Smith. She'll leave it behind the goal to Bednarik. Bednarik with Bryn Hepting trying to work around her, and instead leaves it for Dean. Dean tries to go high by Cardello, but it goes over the goal there, and it will be a retained possession, but not a fresh 60 for Drexel. Simpson with it now. Drops it back to Fowler. Fowler leaves it for Simpson. Simpson trying to work around Gaddy. Takes the shot, deflected by Cardello, goes out. Retains possession, Drexel. Drexel working it back up to Fowler. Fowler flings it up towards Wall, and Wall goes back to Fowler, who in turn leaves it back for Wall. Wall trying to work around Flannery, has initially a cutting Fowler, but it's turned over by Drexel, and with under 10:30 left in the second quarter, Hofstra gets possession back. A knockdown of Megan Flannery there, but a foul called, and so Hofstra does not lose possession on that.
Again, Hofstra really picking up the possessions here and really attacking more on defense, becoming more physical there.
Jackie Gaddy trying to wing it into the offensive end. She wings it to Megan Flannery. Flannery goes to Lauren Coletti, working inside from the CAA logo area. Walzer on the far side centers it towards Flannery, and Flannery leaves it for Taylor Manella. Manella trying to work around a Drexel defender, now has a second, and she has to leave it to the top to carry Walzer. Walzer far sides it to Flannery. Flannery trying to work around towards the center, centers it towards Taylor Manella. Manella has a couple of defenders in front of her, and she has to underhand it to Flannery. Flannery near side pass to Walzer, and Walzer stepping back, working in towards the top mark, going behind the goal to Kelly. Kelly trying to work around a couple of defenders. She has to underhand it to Walzer. Drexel defense is tough. Sedlar goes back outside the 8-meter arc to Walzer. Walzer centers it to Manella. Manella backing up outside the 8-meter arc, now trying to work her way in. Takes the shot. Low side, another goal for Taylor Manella. Cuts the lead further for Delaware as Hofstra chips back to a 7-goal deficit in the second of this game for Taylor Manella, 28th of the season.
A hard-fought goal. There's so many Drexel defensive players were starting to surround the Hofstra offense. Really, the Hofstra offense really starting to improve, and the Hofstra defense as well. Really starting to improve after this first quarter.
And the save by Cardello eventually leads to the Hofstra goal, and still a big mountain to climb for Hofstra. 7-goal deficit, but they now doubled their total of from the entirety of the first quarter. So for the moment, good signs for Hofstra, but still a big mountain to climb at this point. So we will get set for the next draw control of this one. Drexel still has the advantage 9-5, but Hofstra has closed it slightly, and that has certainly been critical in them getting some offensive opportunities. So Carollo and Sissel, who will be taking it for their respective sides per usual. Arm is up, official's whistle blows, and it is one up trying to go high for it, and still on the ground, and eventually picking it up and still not able to get it in the neutral area, but picking it up just inside the offensive end was Katie Kelly. Megan Flannery tried to go high for it, couldn't come down with it, but she knocked it away, and eventually Katie Kelly was able to get it. Now Manella centers it to Walzer, who's backing up outside of that 8-meter arc, now begins to jog in towards it, working inside, trying to get around the defender, has to center it to Manella. Manella goes to Rachel Graff on the near side. Graff trying to work around the defender, has 2 in front of her now, goes for the shot, scores, and it was going to be a free position opportunity, but instead, Hofstra gets the goal and chips away further. It's a 6-goal deficit as Rachel Graff gets her first of the game.
Hofstra again creating opportunities for themselves and just just breaking down this Drexel defense now, as it seems they've been picking up Drexel's momentum from the first quarter and using it against Drexel in the second quarter here. And it looks like a timeout has been called.
It looks like we'll have a timeout for Drexel, as Drexel has now conceded 3 unanswered for Hofstra. And, as I've been saying, it's a big mountain to climb. You still got 6 goals, but Hofstra in the first half of this quarter has really begun to pick it up, and now has been getting opportunities on offense. We have seen consecutive draw control wins for them, and these draw controls are so critical to create scoring opportunities for Hofstra.
Even though Drexel still has 9 draw controls, Hofstra is catching up with the 6 draw controls, eventually tying those up, and also going on the shots on goal. Currently, Drexel still leads Hofstra 15-11 in total combined from the first quarter and the second quarter. However, Hofstra has more shots on goal in the second quarter here compared to Drexel, 4-1.
And this has been a team that has been very resilient at times this season, and it's just Hofstra was not able to get stuff going earlier in the first quarter, and losing draw controls and a couple of shots that did not go led to the big deficit that Hofstra finds themselves in. But they've been slowly chipping away, and halfway through this second quarter, it's a 6-goal deficit as opposed to the 9-goal deficit that it was. Still, I stress, still a big mountain to climb for Hofstra, but they're getting back into it. As we have a slight moment just before we get started with the remaining action here, we'll update you on other Hofstra Pride matchups going on. Hofstra softball is facing Elon. They lead 8-2 in the bottom of the 6th inning right now, and Hofstra baseball is playing Northeastern right now. They trail that one in the 3rd, 4-3. Later today, it is also a lacrosse doubleheader for the Pride, as the men's team is down in Hampton playing them today. So we get set back from that scoreboard check of other Hofstra Pride teams to restart the draw control. And that goal, I wanted to mention also, goes for number 24 of the season for Rachel Graff, as she was one of the seniors that was honored today. So she gets a goal on her senior day. Draw control is up, working in the offensive end, and still on the ground. Kicked it slightly, did Carollo. Still a fight for it. Carollo knocks it away and eventually picks it up, and that's another draw control win for Hofstra, and she leaves it for Carrie Walzer, and she will exit for Rachel Graff, as centering it and eventually working it towards the end is Megan Flannery. She'll work it to the far side, the near side to Taylor Manella, and Manella will center it back to Graff, who wings it to Walzer on the far side. Walzer trying to work in around a Hofstra defender, instead has to back away, a Drexel defender backs away and centers it to Megan Flannery. 7:32 left to go. Graff with it on the near side now. Graff trying to work around a Hofstra defender, leaves it for Katie Kelly behind the goal. Walzer in front of the goal, tried to center it, did Kelly. It was momentarily knocked away, but Walzer was able to pick it back up, trying to work around the Drexel defender. She instead leaves it to Kelly behind the goal. Kelly trying to find herself an opportunity. Instead has to back out, go back behind the goal, find Chloe Sedlar on the far side. Sedlar will center it back forward to Megan Flannery. Flannery trying to work around, has a cutting Walzer, did not elect to take her. Instead, she leaves it for Taylor Manella closer to the near side. Manella backing up a couple of steps, now working in. Opportunity shut off by 2 Drexel defenders, finds Carrie Walzer instead. Walzer goes down. Desperation heaves it up on the ground, picked up by Coletti. Hofstra retains possession. Smart play there by Carrie Walzer to not lose possession there. And Chloe Sedlar was cutting in front of the goal, and Hofstra tried to quick pass to her, but they could not find her, and it's a turnover on this end for Hofstra. So now bringing it this end is Wygand for Drexel. Wygand with space in front of her, leaves it on the on the far side to Morano. Morano behind the goal with it, finds Bednarik, and Bednarik will work it back up towards the top to Fowler. Fowler wings it to Wall, and Wall goes back to Molly Wygand, and Wygand will go back around the horn. Lindsay Dean with it behind the goal now, and she wings it to Bednarik. Bednarik has Bryn Hepting and a lot of turf in front of her, gets around Hepting. Jackie Gaddy got in to block it, And that was Kendall Smith who was there to block the shot. And Cardello eventually picks up the ground ball. And it's a turnover for Drexel. 5:39 left to go in this second quarter. Cardello with it, looking for her opportunities. Walser moving back down, trying to give her a player to give it to. Instead, Cardello wings it towards the draw control circle where Jackie Gaddy picks it up. Jackie Gaddy clears it for Hofstra, and she will go back to Trinity Reed, who is inside that draw control circle. Reed wings it forward to Sedlar, and Sedlar will center it to Megan Flannery. Flannery will wing it on the near side to Taylor Manella. Manella finds Graf. Graf trying to work around one Drexel defender, now has two. Has to back up outside the 8-meter arc, trying to spin around, can't find something. Underhands it to Flannery, who will go back up inside. Now with it inside the attacking end is Coletti, who wings it to Manella, and it's saved by Cuoco of Drexel. And a whistle, and it looks like it will be a restart. It will be a foul, but a restart for Hofstra, not a France 60. Kelly goes to Graf, and it's saved again by Cuoco on the ground there. Knocked away, a whistle. Hofstra picked it up, but a foul called there. Looked like the foul might have been on Rachel Graf or Chloe Sedlar, and Drexel will pick back possession up. Cuoco passes it to Sissel. She wings it forward to Fowler, and Drexel clears it. Walser trying to go in towards Fowler, but Fowler gets past her and into the offensive end. She wings it to, at the CAA logo, Morano. Morano, very far side, right by that CAA logo in the Hofstra end. She'll leave it back up to Fowler, and Fowler will drop it off to Alex Wall, and Wall will find Molly Wygand, and eventually the ball will work its way to the near side to Bednarik, and Drexel now going back the other end. Now with it is Bednarik. Trying to work around Trinity Reed, instead leaves it for Fowler. Drexel has not scored this quarter, worth mentioning. Now with it behind the goal is Morano. Morano trying to work around Trinity Reed, instead she'll leave it up to the top to Bednarik, who will work it around the horn and eventually finds its way to Fowler. Goes back to Molly Wygand, and Wygand underhands it to Fowler. Drexel looking to go around the horn again. Behind the goal with it is Lindsay Dean, hat-trick scorer in this one. Wings it forward to Bednarik, and eventually it works its way back up again to the top to Wygand and Fowler, and Morano on the far side. Morano with Trinity Reed in coverage now has a cutting Harding. It's a kick save by Cardello, still on the ground, and eventually picked up off the ground ball by Cardello. A huge kick save for her.
Impressive save too, as she deflected it off, and Drexel is trying to regain possession again and trying to take back control of the game, as Hofstra has pretty much taken control of the second quarter.
So it was all Drexel in the first quarter. It's been mostly all Hofstra in the second quarter, as Coletti brings it forward with 2 minutes and 38 seconds to go. Graf has it now, wings it to Walser on the far side. Walser walking towards the line that outlines the Hofstra logo, now jogging in towards the 8-meter arc, trying to get around a Drexel defender, backs up from the line by the free position hacks march, goes to Graf. Graf leaves it behind the goal to Taylor Manella. Manella backing up a couple of steps, now working inside towards that hash mark, spins around a defender, but a one-on-one save for Cuoco. Cuoco has been huge for Delaware. That goes for Drexel. That save goes for number 9 in this one.
Impressive save too, and Cuoco has just been on fire recently, as you said. 9 saves compared to Cardello's 6. So although Hofstra again has been leading the shots on goal so far in the second quarter.
Fowler has it now, and it eventually works its way towards Alex Wall, who's jogging slightly towards the far side, wings it behind the goal to Morano. Morano jogging around, has a cutting Bednarik in front of the goal. Instead, she wings it forward to Fowler. Fowler's got turf in front of her. No Hofstra defenders there. Now leaves it for Wygand. Wygand spins around Walser. Looked like there was a pass attempt opportunity there. It's picked up behind the goal by Morano, and now with it towards the top with Trinity Reed in coverage is Bednarik. 2 Hofstra defenders in front of her, and she'll leave it to Fowler. Dean has it now. Dean wings it behind the goal to Harding. Works its way back to Morano. Morano trying to wrap around. Has Kendall Smith in front of her. passes it forward to Molly Wygand, and Wygand leaves it for Fowler. Fowler, 2 Hofstra defenders in front of her, now leaves it back up towards the top to Wall. Wall spinning around, now backs up outside the 8-meter arc. 52 seconds left to go, the underhand to Wygand. Wygand, back to Wall. Wall trying to work around 2 Hofstra defenders, now has 3. Wings it forward. Still on the ground, picked up by Morano. Morano to Wygand, and a whistle will be blown, and it will be a turnover as it looks like it's a shot clock violation. Hofstra has 38 seconds left to go to try to add a 4th this quarter. They got to hurry, though, as the clock winds. Shot clock turned off. Katie Kelly brings it forward past the half-field line. Wings it forward to Graf at the CAA logo. Graf trying to work her way in. Pace picking up. Drexel defender all over her. Tried to find Sedlar. Sedlar couldn't get it. Manella picks it up off the ground ball. Manella has it 17 seconds left to go, working back behind the line of the goal. Manella working her way in, trying for the wraparound opportunity. Drexel defenders in front of her, and another save for Cuoco. And with 6 seconds left, that will just about do it for the second quarter action here. 1 second, horn blows. So a better second quarter for Hofstra than their first quarter. They're able to hold Drexel scoreless, but and they do get 3 goals themselves, but they still trail by 6. We'll take a short break and we'll come back for halftime, for the halftime report here. You're listening to Hofstra Pride Women's Lacrosse, presented by WRHU on Flow Sports. We'll see you on the other side of that break. Time report inside James M. Stewart Stadium here on the campus of Hofstra University. And Amelia, it was a big improvement for Hofstra in the in the second quarter from the first quarter.
It very much so was, and also, as you mentioned before, in draw controls throughout this first half, Hofstra winning winning all of the draw controls in the second quarter, with winning 4 compared to their last one when they won 3 compared to Drexel's 9. But Drexel still leads Hofstra in draw controls 9-7, and also saves by period. I mean, Drexel's still winning those, and it's like they're pretty much the same in some capacity, but also Drexel is playing a little bit better than Hofstra is at the moment. But Hofstra really stepped up their A game in that second quarter and just really did what Drexel did to Hofstra in the second quarter. They took what they did defensively and offensively and turned it on to them.
Yeah, and we talk about a team in Drexel that was so dominant on the offensive end, and Hofstra's defense had no answer for them. We mentioned the 9 unanswered in the first quarter and the 10 goals that were scored in general there, and a huge turnaround for Hofstra to hold Drexel scoreless, and then they also put up 3 goals themselves. And it's easy that, Hofstra had other opportunities, and it's easy for you to say, well, Hofstra could have scored more, should have scored more, and maybe that may be true, but this is a big mountain for them to climb. And this is, I said it to Amelia during the break, this is a team that I've seen go on scoring runs. They went on a small run in the second quarter, but I've seen them go on bigger runs in a race against Monmouth. They erased a 5-goal deficit, so it's certainly something that this team has in them, and they just slowly chipped away. So I'm going to take the glass half full route with talking about this for Hofstra, and that's something that I think is just worth bringing up here, that it was a massive turnaround for them in that second quarter than it was in that first quarter. And when Drexel did have the ball on offense, they weren't getting beat to the degree that they were in the first quarter.
And also Cardella with 6 saves, and with Cuoco with 10 saves so far in this game. And also impressive compared from the first quarter. As you mentioned before, Hofstra held Drexel at 10 and allowing them to score no goals in that second quarter. They just picked up the momentum and really built off on that juju there. So if they can continue that in the rest of the game in quarter 3, they should be able to erase that 6-point deficit and catch up to Drexel throughout the game.
So we will take a quick look at some of the stats right now. So 4 Hofstra goals have gone for Taylor Manella, 2. Carrie Walzer has 1, and Rachel Graff has 1. The only assist for Hofstra is the 1 goal for Katie Kelly. And for Drexel, Lindsay Dean has the hat trick today, with Corinne Bednark and Alex Wall each having 2. Molly Wygand, Maddie Fowler, and Kate Morano have 1. Also 3 assists for Lindsay Dean, so double-barreled hat trick on those ends. And then also one assist for Corinne Bednark. So that is the stat line on that front. We'll take a look at the shots. 16 for Drexel, 10 for Hofstra in that first quarter, 8 shots for Hofstra in the second quarter, and 4 for Drexel in the first quarter. And Amelia, just take a look at the difference in shots for Drexel from that first quarter to the second quarter. Hofstra cut that by almost 2/3.
They did, and it's, again, impressive. They were able to hold Drexel down that much in the second quarter, as they were coming out flying in the first quarter. And so I don't know if it was something Coach Shannon Smith said to them right before the second quarter began, or Hofstra was able just to pick up on all of Drexel's moves that they weren't able to pick up on in the first quarter.
And some other statistics that we will bring up: 9 draw control wins for Drexel in the first quarter, 3 for Hofstra, 4 for Hofstra in the second quarter, and as Amelia mentioned, they won all 4 of them. But that is good for a closing the gap in draw controls. 9-7 for Drexel has the 9-7 advantage, but Hofstra is getting closer there, and it was just getting closer in a lot of fashions on that end. We also take a look at the saves. And Cuoco for Drexel really did a good job of keeping the score of this one a 6-goal lead for Delaware, as opposed to what maybe could have been a 4 or 3-goal lead if a couple of other Hofstra opportunities had gone for goals. So she only had 4 saves, but all 4 of those saves were massive ones. Good for 10 on the game for her. Cardello has 6 herself. And then just taking a look at turnovers, Hofstra has turned the ball over 5 times, Drexel 4 times, and Hofstra has fouled 10 times in this one, Drexel 6. And a difference also in fouls, as Hofstra had 9 in the first quarter, only 1 in the second. So a lot of it is critical, and also definitely playing better on the defensive end. They certainly improved on that front last quarter, and they're going to need to continue that if they're going to climb this big mountain that they have to climb.
Exactly, and also pretty much Drexel could potentially figure out how Hofstra is playing this game, and what Hofstra has to do is just adjust to different situations that Drexel creates for them, and also just adjust to situations that Hofstra creates for themselves, like opportunities for goals and all the defensive work too. The defense has really stepped up in the second quarter, really, and hopefully that momentum picks up in that second half.
And as we get the horn sound that signals the beginning of the third quarter, Hofstra has already taken the field. Drexel just about to finish their team huddle from this halftime. We have a fresh 15 minutes and 30 seconds to go in this game, the final home game of the season for the Hofstra Pride. And as Drexel begins to take the field, it will be Courtney Carolla, the usual suspect, who will take the draw control for Hofstra. And for Drexel, it will be Mara Sissel, the also usual suspect. She's working her way in. Carolla is already at that yellow line on the blue Hofstra H. We did mention it was a lacrosse doubleheader, and also a couple other Hofstra Pride sports going on at the same time. At the next stoppage, we will update you on those, but you're here with us right now. We appreciate you joining us for this matchup between the Hofstra Pride and the Drexel Dragons. We're getting set for this opening draw control. Almost set. Arm is up, whistle blows, and the ball is on the ground, still on the ground, and eventually picked up by Cameron Ryan of Drexel, and Drexel wins the opening draw control, their first draw control win in over 15 minutes. So now bringing it this end is Dean, and Dean wings it to Harding, and Harding will leave it behind the goal. Will leave it to Bednarik, who will eventually find Morano behind the goal. Now working it back around the horn up to the top to Alex Wall, trying to get around Kate Fiola, cannot, and she has to go behind the goal to Lindsay Dean. Whistle blows there. It will be a free position opportunity for Drexel, the first one that they will get of this quarter, and the fourth one of the game. Dean will take it from the far side most hash mark. She has 3 goals already this one. We'll see what technique she used to take it. She takes it herself, scores, and the first goal for Drexel in over 15 minutes extends their lead back out to 7.
Again, how Drexel winning these draw controls puts Hofstra at a disadvantage, because Drexel will come out flying after gaining possession and able to score as many goals as they like to.
Yes, and we talked about it ad nauseum at halftime and in the second quarter. The draw control, Drexel went by the draw control, and they once again go by the draw control here. They win the opening one, and not even a minute into this one, they've scored their 11th of the game, and they do end the 3-0 Hofstra scoring run, and it's the 4th goal of the game for Lindsay Dean, the 14th of the season for her. Back in the center for this draw control, it will be Sissel and Corolla who will take it. Arm is up, whistle blows. Katie Kelly picks it up off of the draw. She backs up slightly, but has won the draw control for Hofstra, winging it forward to Manella on the far side. In the offensive zone for Hofstra, she's allowing personnel to get forward this side. Graf and Coletti work their way in. Now Manella will get started. She'll wing it to Walzer, who picks it up low on the near side, jogging her way in towards the 8-meter arc. Now trying to get around a Drexel defender. Cannot, and has to back up outside of the 8-meter arc. Try again. Wings it other side to Rachel Graf. Graf trying to get around a Drexel defender. Can't. Has to find Walzer cutting in front, and the pass is airmailed, and it will be picked up by Simpson, and Drexel forces another Hofstra turnover. So Cuoco has it behind the goal. She wings it forward, and Drexel close to the clear, and now it will go for a clear as Simpson picks it up from her defensive end. She finds Fowler, and Fowler will drop behind the goal. We'll see if she'll leave it for Lindsay Dean or fling it forward. She does fling it forward to Simpson, and Simpson centers it to Wall. Wall spins her finger around, looking to direct traffic, now leaves it on the far side, and it works its way back to Godshaw behind the goal near the CAA logo, now working its way and flinging it cross was Fowler, and a cross-field pass to Bednarik as she tries to get around a couple of Hofstra defenders. Spins, beats Trinity Reed, and goes with the bounce inside of the goal. And Trinity Reed went down there as a tough spin move by Bednarik goes for her 3rd of the game, the hat trick, and a 2nd goal to start this 3rd quarter for Drexel.
Another low ball there into the low leave right-hand corner there, making it a little bit difficult with all the defense surrounding Drexel's offense.
And going that low side again, bounced it in front, and it was Trinity Reed who got beat there, and the 37th, the team leading 37th for Connie Bednarik, and there were 2 Hofstra defenders in front of there. Trinity Reed went down, but it was also Kayla Robertson who was beat on that very, very fine finesse spin move there by Corinne Bednarik to put Drexel in front 8 in this one. Their largest lead has been 9 in this one. That was in that first quarter where they scored their 10th goal. Ball is up, and picking it up is Cecil for Drexel, and another draw control win for them. She leaves it for Lindsay Dean, and she will back out outside of the offensive end. Fowler has it, centers it towards Simpson. Now having it Wall, and she will leave it for Morano, and Morano will wing it behind the goal to Lindsay Dean. A centering pass by Bednarik to Fowler. Fowler trying to get around Emily Wygand. Instead, she leaves it for Godshaw. Godshaw centers it up to Bednarik. 3 goals in the game for her. Backing up outside of the 8-meter arc, she leaves it for Fowler. Whistle, and it is a shot clock violation. Hofstra will pick it up off of the Drexel turnover. And Alex Wall is arguing with the officials that there should have been some kind of penalty there, but it looks like it will still be, for the moment, Hofstra ball as the official works over to the scores table. We will see what the eventual verdict will be. Drexel players still standing in a sort of arc on the Hofstra end. 11:57 left to go. Still not sure what is going on here on this end. The official is coming back, and it will be still don't have a ruling yet as the official jogs back towards the other 2 officials. Maddie Fowler has it cradled in her stick right now, but I'm not sure whether or not it will stay, and it will be Drexel who will have possession, as it looked like there may have been an error with the shot clock, as they have it now. Godshaw with Trinity Reed behind the goal. Godshaw trying to work around Trinity Reed. Instead, she centers it to Wall. Wall has 2 goals this game. She leaves it for Simpson. Simpson working in. Slight screen set, and Simpson goes the low side again. Scores, and Drexel's lead is back up to 9.
Again, Drexel's offense really breaking down this Pride defense. It looks like there was pretty much open space for that lone goal score. And it seems like Drexel is really taking back control of this third quarter.
And that lower left-hand side has really worked for Drexel in this one. And this is what we saw from them in the first quarter. Hofstra was able to flip the script back in the second quarter, but it's flipped back to Drexel in the third quarter here, and Drexel has equaled their largest lead of this one on the 30th goal of the season from Haley Simpson. It is 13-4. So we're getting set for this next draw control. Carollo and Sissel in the center. Just about set to get started here as the official is still sorting things out in the center by that yellow line there. Now she backs up, whistle blows, and the ball is up, knocked down by Carollo, and Carollo will pick it up off the ground ball for a Hofstra draw control win. She'll work back into her defensive end, and Kendall Smith exits as she leaves it for Jackie Gaddy. Gaddy wings it forward to Hepting. Hepting has to get around a couple of Drexel defenders, does for the moment, and she wings it to Taylor Manello, who's by the CAA logo, now working her way into the offensive end. She'll center it to Flannery, and it will be a turnover as Hofstra turns it over and Drexel regains possession. 11 minutes, just north of 11 minutes, as Bednarik has some turf in front of her, trying to beat a couple of Hofstra defenders, working towards the goal. 2 in front of her now. Still has it, now leaves it behind the goal to Lindsay Dean. Dean wings it to Morano, and Morano will go up to Godshaw on the Hofstra bench side. Wall has it now. Wall will go to Simpson, and Simpson will pass it back to Wall, and Wall will wing it to Morano, and Morano will reset behind the goal to Godshaw. Godshaw. Couple of Hofstra defenders in front of her now, a couple of her own players working behind the goal towards her. And now with it, still with it is Godshaw, actually. Correction, I lost the ball momentarily. Cutting in front of the goal and scoring number 38 for Corinne Bednarik. And it is the largest lead of the game now for Drexel. It's a 10-goal lead. Drexel has 14 in this one.
Hofstra really got to keep control of the ball and gain possession again and take back control of this third quarter. And now it's all Drexel in this one. And you have to think, what kind of adjustments is the Hofstra Pride going to make in order to keep Drexel at 14 at the moment?
And Hofstra has the draw control was not the problem this time. The turnover issue was the problem on the first couple of looks in this one, especially that one off of the draw control win by Carollo when Hofstra turned it over, and that turnover led to the 38th Bednarik goal, and it was Godshaw who assisted that, and that goes for the first assist of this game for Godshaw and her 8th of the season. Whistle blows on the draw control, and it goes the Drexel way. Katie Kelly was hoping it would be Hofstra's ball, but it is not, and it's Drexel's under 9.5 minutes left to go. Drexel bringing it on this end. Belle McHugh has it, and she works it forward to her offensive players. Morano has it now working behind the goal. Leaves it for Lindsay Dean there. Dean working around, finds it by the Hofstra logo. Harding. Wall has it now. Wall has been sitting at 2 since the first quarter. Wings it to Morano, and Morano drops it off to Godshaw. Godshaw, far side to Dean. Dean with it, working around towards the top, and with it now is Molly Wygand, trying to work around Carrie Walser and Jackie Gaddy. She tried to pass it to Godshaw, but it's a turnover for Drexel, and a badly needed turnover at that for Hofstra, as they'll get another opportunity to try to get an offensive look. Trinity Reed running forward, and she does clear it for Hofstra and drops it off to Hepting. Hepting working into the offensive end. She passes it off to Flannery, and she will step back outside of the offensive end. Chloe Sedlar with it now on this offensive end, wings it forward towards the center to Megan Flannery. Now with it is Rachel Graff backing up outside of the CAA arc, trying to work around. A couple of defenders, has to center it back up towards the top to Carrie Walser. Walser tried to bounce it in front of Cuoco. It goes out, but it retains Hofstra possession. 45 on the shot clock, 7:57 on the game clock. Centering pass to Flannery, and Flannery leaves it to Manella. Manella alone up towards the top, trying to work around one defender. Now has a second to deprive her of that opportunity, and she drops it to Carrie Walser, who will back up, now jog her way inside the free position hash marks. Opportunity shut off again. She'll have to back out. Trying again is Walser, trying to get around the one defender, goes to the left-hand side. Whistle blows, and it will be a free position opportunity. And from that far side most hash mark, it will be a free position opportunity for Carrie Walser, who has one of the 4 Hofstra goals in this one. Closest to the Drexel bench, 7:14 left to go. Walser backing up forward, tries to find Kelly in front of the goal. Instead, the pass was missed there, and Cuoco picked it up off of the free position opportunity. She flings it forward, and it's cleared by Drexel. So Drexel has it on this end now. Morano with it. Morano leaves it behind the goal to Lindsay Dean. Dean jogging around with Trinity Reed nearest to her. Godshaw has it now. Godshaw will drop it off to Harding by the CAA logo. Kendall Smith giving her space, and a top center towards pass, eventually working its way back towards Lindsay Dean behind the goal. Lindsay Dean will wing it near side to Morano. Morano will center it towards Harding. Harding trying to work around Kendall Smith. Kendall Smith gets knocked down. Cardello stops the low side shot, and it's a badly needed save for her. 6 minutes and 15 seconds left to go in this third quarter of play.
This possession here is putting Hofstra at the advantage, because as you can see, she's running down the field very fast, trying to create an opportunity.
And Trinity Reed brings it this end. She'll leave it for Katie Kelly. Katie Kelly directing traffic right now, pointing at Carrie Walser and pointing towards Lauren Coletti where she wants her to go. Still directing traffic and cradling it as she walks towards the near side. Now begins to jog in towards, has a player on her. She has to back up outside the 8-meter arc. Taylor Manella tried to set up a screen for her. Kelly tried to pass it, but it was picked up off of the turnover attempt, and a foul will be called on Kelly as she tried to pick it up off of a pass opportunity. Winging it forward is Cuoco, and with under 5.5 minutes left to go, Bednarik has it now on this end by the Hofstra logo on the far side. Just over 5 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Wall with it now. Wall still looking for her hat-trick goal of the game, cradling it as she is slightly backing up. Now wings it to Harding. Harding goes to Morano. Morano leaves it for Godshaw. Godshaw with Kayla Robertson in coverage, trying to work around her. Doesn't have the shot opportunity for the moment and has to look back up towards the top, and they'll center it to Molly Wygand. Wygand trying to get around Kendall Smith. Jackie Gaddy there to block off the opportunity, and they'll have to leave it for Harding. Harding, a couple of Hofstra defenders in front of her, loses the ball momentarily. Dean tried to pick it up, couldn't get it. It's still on the ground and picked up by Molly Wygand. Wygand with Kate Fiola backing up outside of the 8-meter arc, and they'll leave it up at the top. Drexel does for Wall. Wall wings it to Harding, and eventually it will work its way back behind the goal to Bednarik. Bednarik trying to get around Bryn Hepting for the wraparound. She does and scores for her 5th goal of the game, 39th of the season. Drexel's lead is 11.
Once again, Drexel really breaking down this Hofstra defense. Again, it seems like a repeat of the first quarter again, of Drexel maintaining control, and Hofstra scoring 0 goals so far compared to Drexel's 5.
And it has been a more under control from the goal end than the first quarter, but it looks like we're watching a first quarter replay right now as Drexel has been dominant on defense, has been beating Hofstra players. That wraparound for Corinne Bednarik has led to her getting 5 goals this game and has been a big success for Drexel on that offensive end. So we're getting set for the next draw control of this one. 3 minutes and 22 seconds left to go. Clock winds now. And the whistle blows. Draw control is up, and it will, at the end, be picked up still on the ground, and a whistle blows, and it will eventually be picked up by, or it will eventually go for the Pride's first draw control, or for the Pride's next draw control win, I should say. Katie Kelly has it. She's backing up just outside the line that marks the restricted area. She leaves it for Flannery, and it will be Flannery who will restart it. Flannery will wing it to Kate Fiola on the far side. Fiola wings it forward to Walzer. Walzer trying to work her way in, tries to get around one defender, has to leave it for Manella. Manella trying to get around that other defender. Manella working in inside, leaves it for Flannery. Manella with it again, has a defender in front of her, trying to get around the defender, takes the shot. It's knocked down by a stick of Drexel, picked up by Cuoco, but it will be a whistle, and it actually goes for, it's going to be a whistle and a possession that will stay with Drexel, but it will be Cuoco who will have it and restart this possession. 2 minutes and 5 seconds left to go in this third quarter, as we have reached as I already mentioned, have reached the running clock portion of this game, with Drexel up 11. Bringing it forward this end is Godshaw. Godshaw leaves it behind the goal to Morano. Morano trying to work around Trinity Reed. Goes up to the top to Molly Wygand. Wygand centers it to Simpson. Simpson drops it off to Harding, and Harding will go off to Godshaw. Godshaw behind the goal to Morano. Working around the horn still is Drexel by the Hofstra logo. It's Bednarik. Bednarik centers it to Molly Wygand. Wygand has the opportunity shut off by Megan Flannery. Bednarik trying to work around. Goes behind the goal to Morano, and Morano will wing it back to her. Centering pass to Wygand. Wygand goes to Godshaw on the near side. Godshaw trying to work around. Kayla Robertson cannot for the moment, has to back up and leave it for Lindsay Dean. Dean wings it forward to Simpson. Simpson on Jackie Gaddy. Gaddy knocks it away momentarily, but Simpson is able to pick it back up. But Kate Fiola's tight defense is able to knock it away, and Kate Fiola will pick it up for the moment and wing it forward to Megan Flannery, and Megan Flannery will wing it far side to Bryn Hepting, and Hepting will clear it for Hofstra, and they have 45 seconds left to try to answer this one. Now with it, and now trying to find a defender was Rachel Graff, but the pass was deflected and picked up by McHugh of Drexel. And with it now is Morano on this end, has one Hofstra defender in front of her. That's Trinity Reed. She'll drop it off to Bednarik, trying to look for 40. Instead has a cutting Godshaw, who bounces it in front of Cardello and scores number 16 for Drexel. The lead is 12.
Again, open space there that made Drexel able to score I believe the 6th goal of this quarter. Yeah, of this quarter. The defense, again, as I've mentioned before in earlier quarters, really has to tighten up here in the final quarter of the game.
And as the clock was running, the horn sounds, and that is the end of the third quarter. We will take a short break and be back for fourth quarter action. You're listening to Hofstra Pride Women's Lacrosse on Flow Sports, presented by WRHU. For fourth quarter action here from James M. Stewart Stadium, the Drexel Dragons lead the Hofstra Pride by 12. It is 16-4. And Amelia, we saw Hofstra be able to make adjustments and put some goals on the board in the second quarter. They were not able to score in the third quarter here. And right now, as I mentioned, it's a 12-goal lead. So what is Hofstra going to have to do to try to salvage anything from this game right now?
Really pick up on their draw controls and really take control of this final quarter. This final quarter is what matters the most right now. And as you said, it is a 12-goal lead. Maybe Hofstra can cut that deficit just a little bit, or maybe they can even catch up to Drexel's 16, but they really got to go all out, really take control of these draw controls and this final quarter, and really tighten up that defense and create less open space for Drexel.
So we're getting set for the final opening draw control of this one. Whistle blows, draw control is up, it's trickling towards the restricted area, but it's picked up by Sissel of Drexel, and Drexel wins another draw control. Now with it, this end is Allie Van Slyke, and Van Slyke will eventually wing it towards, and it finds its way to Lindsay Dean, who's working by the Hofstra logo on the near side. Working its way back up towards the top, and Bednarik, and eventually leaving it down at the bottom for Lindsay Dean. Godshaw wings it forward to Alex Wall. Alex Wall still has 2 goals in the game, trying to work around Jackie Gaddy. Instead, drops it off to Bednarik. Bednarik trying to spin around Bryn Hepting. Instead, she leaves it for Godshaw. Godshaw has a couple of defenders in front of her. Pass was not really to anyone in specific, and Trinity Reed is able to pick it up, and Trinity Reed will bring it this direction. She has momentum and has turf in front of her, and she'll bring it this direction and eventually leave it for Megan Flannery in the center. Flannery wings it to Katie Kelly, and Katie Kelly tried to find Carrie Walzer, who was in the center, but it was deflected, and picking it up off of the ground ball there was Cuoco for Drexel, who has been very good in this one for the moment. Eventually off of the ground ball, Katie Kelly's able to pick it up, but a whistle blows, and it will instead be Drexel ball. Drexel bringing it this direction, Maddie Fowler handling it now, and she will wing it to Lindsay Dean, who is inside the Hofstra logo. Dean will leave it for Bednarik, working her way behind the goal, now wings it towards, on the far side, Morano. Morano has a couple of players in front of her, and it will eventually center itself towards Wall, who then leaves it for Fowler. Kendall Smith forces a pass behind the goal to Corinne Bednarik. Bednarik trying to work around Trinity Reed. Kendall Smith there to stop a wraparound opportunity, and going down in front of the goal it looked like McCormick for Hofstra, and Hofstra will get the turnover here. 12 minutes and 50 left to go in this one. Trinity Reed bringing it forward. She passes it to Carrie Walzer, who's working her way towards that far side Hofstra logo, and she'll wing it to Katie Kelly, who tries to work around the goal. Still behind the goal with it now, trying to work forward. Wings it forward to Rachel Graff. Graff looking for an opportunity. Instead, underhands it to Carrie Walzer, who backs up outside of the 8-meter arc. Still backing up, now working forward, jogging and trying to get around a defender. Has an opportunity to shut off, and now she has 3 in front of her. Has to center it to Megan Flannery, who could not pick it up initially. But a whistle blows, and it will be a penalty. And Hofstra will get the opportunity to retain possession. 12 minutes even left to go in this one. Taylor Manello working inside of the 8-meter arc, trying to find something, leaves it for Rachel Graff. A whistle blows, and it will be a free position opportunity for Taylor Manella, who has 2 goals in this one, and Hofstra will try to get their first goal in over 20 minutes. Whistle blows, Manello drops it off to Flannery. Flannery found Kelly, who took the shot, but it's saved by Cuoco. 11:30 left to go, and another save by Cuoco, who has been very, very good with 11 saves in this one. She wings it forward to Bednarik, and Bednarik wings it forward herself to Sissel. And Cecil finds Godshaw. Godshaw goes to a cutting Fowler, but Hofstra bodies were there to stop it. And Drexel will reset up at the top to Alex Wall. 11 minutes left to go in this one as the clock winds. 56 on the shot clock for Drexel. Now with it is behind the goal, Godshaw. Godshaw working it forward to Fowler. Fowler wings it to Reed, who goes a far side pass. Trying to work it around is a Drexel offender. Cardello's there to pick up the ground ball, and Hofstra gets an opportunity to pick back possession. Trinity Reed wings it forward to Carrie Walzer, who's trying to get around a Drexel now defender in the midfield part of the field here, working her way inside the offensive end, leaves it for Megan Flannery. Flannery goes to Katie Kelly, cutting in front of the goal. Kelly goes down, no whistle there. Kelly looks around for a whistle, one will not come, and it will be a Hofstra turnover. Just over 10 minutes left to go as Drexel brings it this direction.
That was a crucial moment there for Hofstra, as could have been a potential penalty shot there, or a I always forget the word.
Free position opportunity.
Free position opportunity. Critical call there.
And now Drexel not really in too much of a hurry to get things going here, as they are working things around on this end. Now in front of the goal with it is Fowler. Fowler takes a shot and scores number 17 of the game for Drexel. The lead is 13.
Again, the defense keeps getting broken down, and with 9 minutes left to go, the Hofstra's really got to step up their offense here, and they really have pretty much throughout this entire game. The momentum keeps picking up, but something again is just not connecting like how it was in the first quarter.
So we'll take a look at some of the scores right now for other Hofstra teams right now. As we mentioned, in the next stoppage we would get to that. Hofstra softball took out a series victory against Elon with an 8-2 win over the Phoenix today. Hofstra baseball is squaring off against Northeastern right now. That one is a 14-5 lead for Northeastern at the moment, and the Hofstra men's team squares off against Hampton also this afternoon. We will update you on a score in that one momentarily.
It also looked like, as we were announcing those scores, the goalkeeper change with Callan Fritsch in goal for Drexel now.
Fritsch in for Drexel, as Drexel head coach working to get some other players some looks in goal here, as this is a runaway right now, and it will be I'm guessing that is going to be a penalty, as Courtney Corolla, correction, it is not a penalty. Corolla was just walking over this direction to switch out with her teammate there, as working with it right now in front of the goal, getting it knocked away. There's a Drexel offensive player, number I could not see, and it's a turnover, and Hofstra picks it up. Trinity Reed wings it forward to Bryn Hepting, who has a little bit of space in front of her. She will use that space and bring it inside the Hofstra offensive end. Reed leaves it for Katie Kelly, who wings it behind the goal to Rachel Graff. Graff has it working up inside the offensive end. She drops it off to Coletti, and Coletti will center it to Carrie Walzer, who backs up outside of the 8-meter arc. Walzer trying to get around a couple of Drexel defenders, cannot. She has to leave it for Taylor Manella. Manella working around, trying to get a goal, or trying to get an opportunity for the goal. Spins around instead, leaves it for Kelly. Kelly will get a free position opportunity here, and something that Hofstra needs at the very least to just get something going here in this one. Kelly took it right from the free position hash mark last time. She does take it right from the free position hash mark. It's saved by the new goalkeeper, but trickles out of bounds, and it will retain possession for Hofstra.
Hofstra now is creating a lot more opportunities for themselves on offense, and that free position really put them at an advantage there.
Megan Flannery working it back towards the center, leaves it to Rachel Graff on the near side. Graff trying to spin around a Drexel defender, instead underhands it to Kelly. Kelly gets knocked down in front of the goal, and it will be a free position opportunity for Hofstra again for Katie Kelly. Clock winds. There's 6:20 left to go.
Once again, another advantage and another opportunity for Hofstra to score 5th goal of the game.
Kelly tried to restart it over, airmailed Kate Field a little bit, but no harm, no foul there, as she was able to pick it up and eventually drop it off to Manila. Manila then underhands it to Flannery. Flannery trying to work around. Instead, she'll leave it to Graff. Graff working inside the 8-meter arc, trying to take the shot, bounces it. It bounces in front and goes out. Retains possession for Hofstra. Clock winds. 5 minutes and 45 seconds to go in this one. So Walser with it, working towards on this end. And we will give you an update on the Hofstra men's game right now going on as Taylor Manella spins around, takes the shot, and finally scores for Hofstra. The first goal that Hofstra has scored since the second quarter, and it's the hat-trick goal for Taylor Manella, and something that in a game that hasn't gone very well for the Pride, at least for Taylor Manella on her senior day, a feel-good moment for her.
Very much so, and a wonderful opportunity made there, and wonderful space that Manella created for herself there to score the goal to cut the lead by 12 again.
The lead is back to 12 for Drexel. Out of town notice at the end of the second quarter, the Hofstra men's lacrosse team leads Hampton by a score of 8-2 in that one, and we already mentioned the other two Hofstra spring sports going on right now in this moment as Drexel is getting their personnel set for this next draw control. It will be Gragnani who will be taking it. Anna Maria Gragnani who will be taking the draw control for Drexel for the moment in this one as the clock continues to wind here as we are over 10 goals. It is a running clock. Arm is up, whistle blows, and a violation on the draw control. It goes the way of Drexel. And Drexel brings it into the offensive end with 4 minutes left to go in this one. It is a 17-5 lead officially, and we mentioned on the goal, it got back to a 12-goal lead for Drexel. Backing up with it is Godshaw, and eventually working back this way to McLean. McLean leaves it for Jaff. Jaff leaves it for McLean, and working behind the goal with it now is Godshaw. Godshaw with Trinity Reed in coverage on her. She wings it back up to the top to McLean. McLean goes centers to Jaff. Jaff trying to work around Kendall Smith. She takes the shot, and it's saved by Cardello. 3 minutes and 25. Cardello wings it forward to Kate Fiola. Hofstra trying to get something going quickly here with what little time they have left. And Fiola bringing it forward on this direction. Fiola leaves it for what looks like Megan Flannery, and Flannery will drop it off to Manella on the near side. 3 minutes left to go in this one. Manella far sides it to Katie Kelly. Katie Kelly has a defender in front of her trying to work around, takes the shot, and it's saved there. Another save by these goalkeepers for Drexel. They have been huge in this one. Whistle blows as there is a foul called on the possession change. Godshaw has it now, trying to work around Trinity Reed, wings it forward outside of that arc to Jaff. Jaff backing up towards the center, the 8-meter arc. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in this one. No real hurry to score right now, Drexel, as they lead this one comfortably. Now with it again is Gragnani, and Gragnani will drop it off to Daughtry up towards the top. And trying to work around, eventually finding. And in front of the goal is McLean. McLean takes a shot. It goes high, goes out of bounds, but Drexel retains possession. 2 minutes even left to go in this one. Winging it forward is Drexel player behind the goal whose number is momentarily obscured, so I could not see who it was. Drexel bringing it on this end, still trying to get things set up. Leaving it for, and a whistle blows, and it will be a free position opportunity for Avery Jaff. The clock winds, 1 minute 30 left to go, and this will likely be one of the last offensive opportunities for either side as the clock continues to run now inside of 90 seconds. Jaff takes the shot, scores, number 18 in the game for Drexel, and it's Jaff's first of this one.
Again, open opportunity by Jaffe there. Just, once again, the Hofstra defense just really opening up that space for Drexel to keep scoring. And as much as the defense has been tightening throughout the game, little mistakes like that can be detrimental.
And that will be just about all that she wrote for this one, as we're getting back towards the center draw control circle, but the clock is winding, so we might get this draw control off, but I will imagine that not really much is going to be able to be accomplished off of this draw control if they are able to get it off in time. 40 seconds left to go. And for the Hofstra Pride, an unfortunate way to end their season on their senior day, as they will fall to the Drexel Dragons 18-5. They do have one more matchup left this season against the top-ranked Stony Brook Seawolves. And the draw control goes up, and it's picked up by Carollo for the final, presumably final draw control win for Hofstra of this one. Manella with it on this end. 15 seconds left to go, trying to spin around a defender. She takes a shot, scores her fourth of the game, and Taylor Manella continues her hot streak as there's 5 seconds left on the clock. That will be all that she will have wrote for this one. Drexel will win this one 18-6 the final. And Amelia, as I mentioned in sort of the last little wrap-up there, an unfortunate way for Hofstra to end their home season this year, but a little bit of good measure goal there as Taylor Manella adds her fourth and what could potentially be her final goal here at home here at James M. Stewart Stadium.
Yeah, not exactly how they wanted, or exactly how you wanted senior day to go at the last home game of this season, but it was a really tough game, and the Hofstra Pride really played well, and they really adjusted throughout the game each time and adjusted to how Drexel was playing against them and running against them, and again, it's a remarkable team overall.
So we will take a quick look at the stats before we end our coverage off here. Again, Drexel won this one 18-6, 31 shots for Drexel, 26 on goal, 27 shots for Hofstra, 20 on goal. Drexel won the draw control battle, 15 draw controls to 11. Hofstra was the team that committed the more fouls and the more turnovers, 16 and 11 on that front. Drexel 15 fouls and 9 turnovers. For Drexel, Connie Bednarik had 5 in this one, which extends her team lead to 39. Lindsay Dean had 4, and Alex Wall had 2. Haley Simpson had 1, and Kate Morano had 1, and then also substitutes for for Drexel, 2 for Maddie Fowler, 1 for Avery Jaffe, 1 for Molly Wygand, and 1 for Sandra Godshaw. And for the Hofstra Pride, again, I mentioned the 4-goal outing for Taylor Manella. Rachel Graff also added 1, and Carrie Walzer had 1 as well. And only 1 assist in this one. That assist went to Katie Kelly, whose multiple goal streak does come to an end with this one. And as we're just about set to end things off here, I will mention Hofstra does have one more matchup this season. They will face number one conference standing Stony Brook next weekend. Myself and Jack McCarthy will bring you that one next weekend for the moment on 88.7 FM. For my partner, Amelia Bashy, my name is Jack Sargent. One more time, the final in this one, the Drexel Dragons 18, the Hofstra Pride 6. And until next time, remember to roll with pride.